Hello, advanced algebra students, and welcome back to another video where we are continuing on our lesson with the unit circle. Hopefully, you spent the time yesterday really taking a good look at our two videos and how to set up the unit circle, especially the very first quadrant and what that all looks like. So I'm going to start off this video by asking you some questions to see if you can't kind of figure out a few things, and then we're going to get into just practicing more of it and showing you maybe how I go about utilizing and kind of visualizing what's happening. Here we go. So as you remember, this is the visual for the unit circle. Again, you had a blank one that was listed yesterday. I would encourage you to grab that and to fill it out. A couple of key things. Remember where the quadrants are. So I'm going to list a couple, make sure you know your quadrants. Make sure you know how to graph x, y's. And from that, where are they positive or negative, right? So as you get some of your x, y's, which quadrant is the x positive in, which quadrants are the y's negative in, things like that. So that if we were graphing, and if I were to use, a red line, here's my y-axis, and down here's my x, and utilizing that as the basis for everything that we do. All right, question number one. In which quadrant is 135 degrees? All right, first, quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the quadrants. 135, so that's a positive degree measure, meaning we need to go counterclockwise. If I go this way, I get to 90. If I go in here, I'm going to stop midway through because this is 180 over here. So it's got to be between 90 and 180, meaning it's in quadrant number 2. Next one. In which quadrant is negative 10 degrees? Well, negative 10, again, we always start from 0, right? We always start from over here, 1, 0. Negative 10 is going to go this way. Negative 10 degrees, meaning it is in quadrant 4. We get quadrant number 4. In which quadrant is negative 100? Once again, it's negative, so if we start at 1, 0, like we're always supposed to start, if I go this way, this spot right there is negative 90 degrees. If I go all the way back to this line, I get negative 180, which means I've got to go just a little bit past 90 to get negative 100 in here, which means that is quadrant number 3. So quadrant 3. Finally, in which quadrant is 180 degrees? Haha, did I trick you? It's not in a quadrant, right? So positive 180 is going to go from here to here, and it's not in a quadrant. It is on the x-axis. So none, because it's on the x-axis. All right, now hopefully you were able to answer most of those right, because we need to know which direction to go. We need to know how far to go to help us understand how to use that unit circle. Okay, here we go. The sine of an angle is given by the blank coordinate on the unit circle. The sine, that is our y coordinate. The cosine of an angle then must be given by the x coordinate. Remember that it's cosine theta, cosine of our angle, comma, sine of our angle, sine of theta. And so that's how we relate them to the xy coordinate on the unit circle. So if you have any questions about any of that so far, I would strongly urge you to set up a one-on-one so we can go over some of the quadrants in the directions of the angle measures. Because from here, what I asked you to do yesterday was complete column A. Okay, and we're going to do this in just a moment, but I'm going to take this unit circle and I'm going to kind of show you how do I use it to help me really understand what's happening and where is that information happening. So again, 90 is up on top. That's the point 0, 1. 180 is over here. And that's the point negative 1, 0. 270 is down here. And that's the point 0, negative 1. And we say that this is either 0 degrees or it could be 360 degrees all the way back around. And that's the point 1, 0. All right. So this first angle measure going up there, as we talked about yesterday, that was the 30-degree measure. Okay. And what I would like you to try and do is fill in which one of the options in Edpuzzle is correct for the coordinates of 30 degrees. Okay. Hopefully, and I'm just going to write it over here because there's just a little bit more room. But hopefully you remember that it's square root 3 over 2, comma 1/2. And that comes from that 30, 60, 90 triangle, right? So this is my cosine of 30. This is my sine of 30. Now, because I know that one, I also know, right, this is 30 degrees, that 30, 60, 90 going this way. I also know this one over here because it is 30 degrees in that direction. So I would be creating a 30, 60, 90 over here, right? And one of the things I tried to show you yesterday was that those two match up. They're going to have the exact same y values. So they're going to have the exact same 1/2. It's just the x values over here are negative, or negative square root 3 over 2. If I continue to follow that pattern from 180, if I go 30 degrees this way, I get to this next line, right? Which is, again, shares this x value. So the x value here stays the same, negative square root 3 over 2, along with 1/2. Now the tricky part was I didn't really tell you what degree measures those are. Well, if you look, we went 30 degrees this way from 180. So that's 150 degrees. And then we went 30 degrees down from 180, which would be 210 degrees. We also then have one more relationship, which is this one over here. It's kind of connected to this one also, if you look at it that way. Right? It's got the same y value, so it's going to have 1/2. Oops, this should have been negative 1/2. I'm sorry. We got negative and negative down here. So negative 1/2, but positive square root 3 over 2. What degree would that be? Well, we went 30 degrees from 360, meaning this one would be 330 degrees. And so I kind of base everything else I do off of this one relationship, right? The 45 degree, and this is going to get really messy quick, so I don't know if you want to write all of this down, but I know that this one is 45. And I know the x and y are the same, square root 2 over 2. That comes from the 45, 45, 90. Well, what that means is all of these, what I'll call the middle ones here, are a factor or a multiple of 45. They're all going to have this same type of coordinate pair, square root 2 over square root 2, but I just need to know square root 2 over 2, comma, square root 2 over 2. I just need to remember which one's positive and negative. Well, the x value is negative, the y value is positive in this one. A factor of 45, right? If I keep going 45, 45 is 90, 45 more is 135, and then I can keep that pattern going for all of the other two. Same thing with our last one that measures 60 degrees, right? Here's the 60. I know that 60 has to be 1/2 comma square root 3 over 2. It's the opposite of our 30. Right, so that's my 60. So if I go 60 more, where are we going to get? 120. But then I just have to remember which of my coordinates is negative and which one's positive. The x is negative and the y is positive. And so I use that to try and help me then answer all of these questions. Okay? So I got to think for a moment here, right? Cosine of 120. So I go here to 90, and then I've got to go 30 more to get to 120 degrees. So this one right here is 120 degrees. When we're thinking about which one to use, 30, 60, 45, we always want to base it off of the x-axis. How far away from the x-axis are we? Well, we are 60 degrees away. So it relates to the 60 degree, which was this one right here, right? It was this one. My x value is going to be 1/2. My y value is square root 3 over 2. Which one is negative in the second quadrant? My x coordinate. So it would be -1/2 square root 3 over 2. All right. Sine of 135. The sine of 135. So again, we go all the way to 90, and then we're going 45 more. So that 135 sits right here. I know, again, that anything that is 45 or a multiple of 45 has to be square root of 2 over 2. Sorry, this is kind of sloppy. Which one is negative in the second quadrant? Again, it's the x coordinate. Cosine of 270, 90, 180, 270, right here. We're right here. What's the ordered pair? 0, -1. But what's the cosine? Which one's the first? It's 0. It's 0. So as we are writing these, notice we get the ordered pair. What we have to finish, and I'm going to write the answers now in blue, is we're making sure that we're only picking the one they're asking for. What is the cosine at 120? Cosine is the first one, so we only need to answer -1/2. Sine of 135. Sine is the second one, so we only need to answer the square root of 2 over 2. Well, what's the sine of 120? We already wrote down the ordered pair for 120. The sine is the second one, so it's the square root of 3 over 2. I'm going to jump to this last one. The sine of -120. -120. So we need to go opposite direction. We need to go clockwise. There's -90. And there is -120. We're sitting right here. So how far away from 180 is this one? Right? How far away is it? Well, if we're at 120, we would need to go 60 more, right? I need to go 60 more. So this is related to our 60 degree one. It's related to this one up here. 1/2 comma square root 3 over 2. But because we're in this third quadrant, both of them are negative. And then which one relates to the sine? the second one, the negative square root 3 over 2. So again, a lot of practice comes into this, a lot of trying to figure out where are we sitting and how does it relate to the x-axis, and then which coordinate are we working with. We're going to do a lot of this in our live sessions over the next couple of days, so I hope that you're taking notes, I hope that you're following along, and that if you do have any questions, you're going to reach out. Until next time, everyone, stay safe.